Do you ever feel like nobody ever listens to a word you say on social media? It's not that you're invisible anymore, but they're sure not talking back. You're probably right. It's probably because you're talking to no one. I'm just going to come right out and say it today on 8-Second Rule. Welcome to the 8-Second Rule, the podcast about attention-based marketing that teaches you how to get, maintain, and build on your ideal audience's attention. Hi, I'm Mark Morris, your host for 8-Second Rule. I am the bull riding copywriter, and I'll explain briefly what that means. The 8 seconds comes from the world of rodeo, wherein a cowboy has 8 seconds to maintain his seat atop a bull if he wants to score any points. That's not to get a buckle. That's not to win a championship. That's just to get on the scoreboard, and 7.99 seconds won't cut it. My other analogy for this is in basketball, when the 8-second rule means that a team handed the ball underneath their own basket has 8 seconds to advance the ball past half court before it is turned back over to their opponent to allow them to make another offensive drive and take a shot at the basket. So you've got 8 seconds. 8 seconds, Google says, is how long it takes for a person to click off of your website or blog post before they decide to move somewhere else. You've got 8 seconds to catch their attention. So you got 8 seconds of passive, free attention that people will give you. What are you going to do with it? Hi, guys. This is Mark Morris, the copy bull writer from 8 Seconds Rule. And I just want to start off by telling you about Anchor. Anchor.fm. I found this site a couple of years ago, and it is the simplest and easiest way to start a podcast that I know of today. You can do it straight from your smartphone. You don't need anything but their app. It's free. They have creation tools that allow you to record and edit your podcast. You can even add music, add buffers, all of those things right here on the site. It doesn't cost anything to host it. You can start as many as you want. Anchor will distribute your podcast for you, so it's heard on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, many more, and you make money from your podcast with no minimum listenership. It's everything you need to make a podcast in one place. Download the free Anchor app or go to anchor.fm to get started. So today on the 8-Second Rule, I want to talk to you about having a plan, and that is a plan for who you're talking to and what you're going to say and what you want them to do when that's over. I ask 3 questions when I am starting an interview with any new ghostwriting client for a book, and I'm going to share those with you today, and I'm going to walk you through the process of figuring out what those mean for you, and then we're going to come up with a plan that's going to help you get your social media on track, get your whole presence moving in the right direction so that you can start to build an audience and gain some attention in this attention-based economy. And that's what it's all about, guys. Attention, building an audience, getting people to listen so that they can help share your stuff and move you past the starting point, all right? So the first question that I always ask is pretty simple. It's this: who are you writing to? Who is the ideal person that you see sitting in a chair reading your book when it's complete? Now, when it comes to social media, this may feel a little bit trickier, but I'll help you out here. I have an ideal person that would listen to 8-Second Rule. He's a 40-year-old male. He is responsible for his own social media content. He's probably either a solopreneur or perhaps he works as an independent contractor, but he's out there trying to build his own audience and he's trying to share his own content. And it's tough. It's hard. And maybe he's had a little bit of success, but he still doesn't feel like he's getting heard. And that's the guy that I'm talking to, and that's the guy that I want to help, okay? So why do I pick that person? Well, it's mostly because I identify with that guy, because that was me about 10 years ago, and I think I can help him. Now, in the process, I'm going to help a whole lot of other people, and hopefully my audience is bigger than just 40-year-old males. But so far, guys over 30 seem to be the ones who are responding most to this content, so I'm not surprised by that. I do get along well with women, but unfortunately, so far I haven't had any comments from any of them. Hopefully I will. I'm sure I will. So that's who I'm looking at. So if you want to pick somebody, if you have an avatar in mind, who would that be? Who are you speaking to? Who is your message for? Who do you think you can help? Whose solution do you have wrapped up inside of you, ready to deliver? And you know that you can explode whatever this is for them and make their life take this quantum leap forward in whatever way it is, whether it's their business or their personal life, their relationships, their health, their mindset, whatever you've got going on. I don't care if you're a coach or I don't care if you're a contractor, whatever you've got going on, who are you providing solutions for? Okay. And I want you to get as specific as you can. I want you to actually write this down, write a description of this person, and I want you to think about it. Why do I want you to do that? Well, because if you are shooting at everybody, you're going to hit nobody. If you're shooting at no one, which is basically shooting at everyone, you will hit them every single time. And if you're talking to no one, they will listen. No one will listen. Okay. So when you're on social media and you're not getting the response you want, a lot of times it's because your content is all over the map. It's not targeted at anybody. You're not looking at anyone. Okay. It's kind of like that teacher who just kind of drones on and on and on and on and on and lectures, but doesn't really speak to communicate with the students. Or the preacher who does the same thing, or the public speaker who does the same thing, or the radio talk show host or podcast host who does the same thing. And I'm looking at you and I'm seeing you out there and I see that you're struggling with this and you need this audience because you're trying to feed your family. You're trying to take care of yourself. You're trying to get to the next level, make your dreams come true, right? Well, the way that you do it is you build your audience one listener, one viewer, one reader at a time. Figure out who that person is, get them involved. And then you build out from there, right? Okay, so once you've discovered who that person is, I'll take you to the next question. The second question that I always ask when I'm getting ready to write a book with somebody is this. What message do you feel specifically that you are best qualified to convey? Because that's the message that we want to share, okay? What is it you're best qualified to say? Why are you the person? Excuse me. Why are you the person to share that message? Why do you feel like you are most qualified to tell that story? And I'll tell you what mine is. Are you ready? Mine is that it is possible with very little capital or even $0 in your bank account to start a business and make money from day one. If you don't believe me, listen right now. Right now, I have not spent a single dime on this podcast. I already had my laptop. I already had my blue Snowbell microphone. Anchor.fm is free. I pay for internet service so my kids can have it for work, for school, and my wife can have it for work. So that's already provided. Okay, I'm not spending any money on this podcast, and yet I've already made 10 cents. I know, super exciting, right? Anchor gives you the ability to have sponsorship from them directly, and they pay you about a penny per listener. Now, that may sound like it's really, really cheap, and I know that I'm not going to make a fortune off of that, and I'm not looking to, okay? But the fact is I have already, and in many cases throughout my life, I started a construction business, made money the first day, a $7,000 gig, actually, the first day I was in business. When I started writing, I got my first paid contract. It was a series of $25 articles, okay? When I started my social media business, we started this on an almost zero. It was like a $40 box of business cards and a $10 domain name. And we had, $1,500 a month was our first contract that we got from our silent partner the minute we walked in the door with the idea, okay? These things happen all the time, and they can happen for you too, but you have to know who you're talking to. So you need to know what that message is. What is that message? My message is I can help you with this. I can help you to develop the skills that you need to get to that place. How do I know that? Because I've done it. I'm the guy to teach you how to do it because I've been there. I can answer the questions and the ones I can't. I have friends. I have a network. We'll put the questions out there into the ether, and I'll bring the guests on and we'll talk about it, okay? But what we are trying to do here is teach each other how to build audience, how to build community, how to build a successful platform that we can share a message from. Okay, so we can sell our products and services. That's the point. All right. So we've talked about the first two questions. Let's get down to the third question. And that third question is really where the rubber meets the road. Are you ready for this? The third question that I ask, I've already asked who you're writing to. I've already asked, why are you the person? What's the message? How is it wrapped up in you that you are the one to deliver this, right? And then finally, the third question that I ask is this. What action do you want that reader to take as soon as they close your book? When they get to the last chapter and they're done, when they hear the last words of your audiobook, when they read the last line on their Kindle, What do you want them to do next? Now, this is where it gets a little tricky for me because I haven't ironed out all the details yet. First of all, I want you to listen to the next episode of my podcast. Okay, I want you to stick around. I want you to subscribe. I want you to follow me on social media. I want you to get engaged. I'd love for you to hire me to write a book, but most of you aren't looking for that. So here is what I am doing. I am putting together a group that will provide support for solopreneurs and those who work from home, that have very little supervision, that are kind of independent and do their own thing, that manage their own social media and have to market themselves, to help them have some accountability and some support so they can share what they know and they can get knowledge from other people. Okay, so that's going to be a group that you can be a part of. And I want you to join that group. It's not ready yet. But if you're interested, you can definitely message me at any time. Okay, markrmorris2@gmail.com. Message me with anything. Mark R. Morris Jr., if you find me on LinkedIn, if you find me on Facebook, that's me. Everywhere you go, if you see Mark R. Morris Jr., it more than likely is me. If it's a big, ugly guy with a beard who looks like he's got an Irish potato for a face, you're looking at me, okay? So that's what I want. So what do you want? What do you want them to do? What type of action are you looking for them to take? Do you want them to buy from you right now? Or are you looking to build a relationship so that you can figure out what it is they need and provide them with a solution that they will eventually buy? Either way, I just want you to figure out what it is you're trying to achieve, okay? And that's where the rubber meets the road. You know who you're talking to, you know why you're the person to be talking to them about it, and then you know what you want them to do. So what is going to be the key to helping you establish this audience that you can do this with? Key number one, you have to start the conversation, okay? You have to. I've already been over this in the first 2 episodes, I know, but listen to me. I cannot tell you how many people will message me on LinkedIn, terrified to leave a comment anywhere, terrified to engage in conversation, either because their boss is looking over their shoulder or because they don't think they're going to get it right or because they don't know anything or they're new here, or the list goes on and on and on and on and on. Okay. The most legit reason I heard from anybody about that was that she had an abusive husband who was trying to find her. And so she had to keep a really low profile, but she wanted to use the connections, the LinkedIn connections of her network to build her business. I get that. Yeah, I totally respect that. You got to be low key. You got to hide behind something else. I get it. Okay. If it's for your own safety, then you keep doing it. But listen to me. You have to start the conversation. That's key number one. That's the first key. If you don't start the conversation, this is never going to happen. So you have to reach out to that ideal person. You have to tell them what that message is and why you're the person that you want, that you should be sharing this with them, how you can help them, how come you're the guy, how come you're the girl. Then you need to ask them, make the ask them what you want. What is it you want them to do? Tell them, make a call to action, get out there and actually say to them, look, I want you to buy my book. Look, I want you to download this free guide. Look, I want you to let me assess your content. Look, I want you to let me look at your website. I want you to give me a chance to check your business expenses because I'm in the business of saving money for companies and I'll split the difference with you if I can save you some money. Whatever it is you're looking for, whatever type of appointment or communication or connection you need or want from this relationship, you have to ask for it. Okay? The second key, do not look over the heads of the audience that shows up, okay? If you have one listener, if you have one viewer, if you have one reader, if you have one commenter, thank them. Engage them in conversation. Other people are going to see that. You're going to become more approachable. Suddenly, you're not just some person out there who's just distributing wisdom to the world. You actually are a decent human being who's engaging with people, and they see it right there in front of them. Engage every single time. I don't care how stupid the comment is. If it's truly obnoxious, you can always delete it. If they become a harasser, you can always block them. Every single platform gives you the right to do that, okay? So take it easy. Don't sweat it. Yes, there's going to be hecklers sometimes. That's cool. That just means you are actually doing something. You're standing for something. If you never have a heckler, you're probably not taking a stand. You're probably not picking sides. You probably don't have an opinion that you're sharing out there in the world. You're probably just going with the flow. And going with the flow is okay, but it'll get you nicely to the middle. It will never take you to the top, ever. It cannot. You cannot get to the top from the middle. It doesn't lead there, okay? You're taking the wrong road. You've got to go against the flow. You've got to occasionally be a disruptor. You've got to occasionally share the unpopular opinion and stand up for yourself, all right? So that's the next part, is you engage and you don't overlook the people who show up. Then, finally, you have to have a product or a service, all right? This is the third part of this. This is the plan. Where are you leading them to? Okay, Moses, we're coming out of Egypt with you. Where are we going? Fortunately, in the biblical story, he had a big pillar of fire in the nighttime and a big pillar of cloud by day, so nobody could really argue with Moses about where they were going. But still, they wanted to know, right? They were like, well, okay. And then they got out in the wilderness and they complained a lot. They were like, we're better off in Egypt. So if you're going to take people on a journey, if you're going to call them together and build an audience out of them, if you want to ask them to be a part of a community or buy your product or, support what you do, you need to have something. You got to be able to offer them something. What is it? Well, in my case, what I'm offering you is a lot of really great information to start off with. And then we're going to build some tools. We're going to have some resources in place, and we're going to actually be able to train you to do these things. Okay? We are working right now to figure out the current best practices, because it changes every 6 months. It's different, right? That's why I got out of the social media game to begin with. And I don't know why I'm kind of going back into it now, but here I am. It's partly because I just love the conversation, all right? The conversation around it. Being able to talk to people all over the world is so invigorating to me. It's exciting to think that there are a billion connections right at my fingertips. That's what you have to have, all right? Those are the three keys. You have to start the conversation, you have to engage the people who speak back to you, and you have to have something to ask, to give them, to provide them. Whether it's in exchange for money or for free or whatever it is, you have to have a next step for them to take, okay? Then you just have to do the next thing, okay? So the first thing is you figure out who you're talking to. You figure out why it is that you're talking and who you are to be saying that. You figure out what you want them to do. You start the conversation. You engage the ones who respond to the conversation. You take them to the next step, whatever that is. I don't know. You figure that out. That's for you to decide. I can't do that for you. All right? If you want to hire me, I can help you figure it out. But that's not what we're here for right now. All right, guys, I hope that helped today. That's all I've got for 8-second rule. And I hope that you guys will get yourself a plan, because listen to me, a bad plan is better than no plan. And a lot of you are flying with no plan right now. All right? Listen, you've got 8 seconds. What are you going to do with it?